9 hidden signs she's deeply invested, but pulling away from fear. Psychology tricks. Most men get this wrong, so let's set it straight from the start. When a woman pulls back, it doesn't automatically mean she's losing interest. Sometimes it means the opposite. She's feeling too much, and that intensity scares her more than silence ever could. Many men carry a simple, dangerous belief. If she likes you, she stays close. If she creates distance, she's done. That assumption has destroyed more real connections than bad timing ever did, because what many women fear isn't you, it's what happens inside them when they care deeply. And as Paulo Coelho put it, one is loved because one is loved. No reason is needed for loving. But the human heart still tries to find reasons, still tries to protect itself, especially when love starts to feel real. That's why you might notice the shift that messes with your head. One moment she's warm, open, present, then suddenly she's slower to reply, less expressive, more guarded. You start replaying everything. You wonder if you said something wrong, if there's someone else, if you're about to be replaced. And most men respond in two predictable ways: chasing harder or shutting down colder, both of which usually push her further away. Here's what many women won't say out loud. Real emotional investment can feel like stepping out into the open with no armor. When she realizes she's attached, her guard doesn't always drop, it often rises. Not because you failed, but because now you matter. Now the stakes feel higher. Now her mind starts running scenarios: loss, disappointment, abandonment, regret. Pulling back can become self-protection, not rejection, a way to regain control over feelings that feel bigger than she expected. The mistake men make is reading fear as disinterest and reacting with panic instead of leadership. And that's what this is about: recognizing the hidden signs she's deeply invested, even while she's backing up because she's afraid of caring too much. No games, no manipulation, just a heart trying to stay safe. If you want clarity instead of confusion, don't reach for tricks. Stay calm. Pay attention. Let her feel safe without you begging, accusing, or disappearing. That's how you keep what's real. 1. She gets quiet right after emotional closeness. One of the most misunderstood signs that she is deeply invested is this: she gets quiet right after emotional closeness. You share a powerful moment. She opens up. She tells you something personal about her past, her fears, or how safe she feels with you. The connection feels real. Then suddenly, she goes quiet. Her messages get shorter. Her tone softens. The warmth seems to cool. Most men panic here. They assume she regrets opening up. They assume she lost interest. Don't jump to that conclusion. Be wiser than that. When a woman reveals something vulnerable, she crosses an invisible emotional line. That is not small. That is significant. The moment she lets you see behind the curtain, attachment accelerates. Feelings move faster than logic. And when she feels that shift inside herself, fear can step in just as quickly. Not fear of you. Fear of how much she now cares. Fear of being seen too clearly. Fear of losing emotional control. Fear of being hurt later if this falls apart. So she pulls back, not dramatically, not with anger, but subtly. Quieter. More measured. Less expressive. From your perspective, it feels confusing. From hers, it feels like hitting the brakes before she falls too fast. A woman who is indifferent does not need recovery time after closeness. She stays light, detached, casual. But a woman who feels something real suddenly becomes aware of risk. Emotional investment raises the stakes. That quiet phase is not rejection. It is regulation. She is trying to slow her own emotions down. She is trying to protect her heart without losing the connection. Now listen carefully. This is where many men destroy momentum. They demand reassurance. What happened? Why are you acting different? Did I do something? Don't interrogate. Pressure confirms her fear that emotions with you will become overwhelming. On the other side, some men respond with cold distance. They mirror her silence with pride. They withdraw completely. Don't do that either. Sudden coldness signals instability. It tells her that connection with you is fragile and unsafe. Both reactions, pressure and withdrawal, push her further into defense mode. What actually works is steadiness. Calm presence. Consistency. You must become the stable ground she can stand on while she sorts through her own emotions. Respond normally. Stay warm but not intense. Give her space without disappearing. That is strength. That is emotional leadership. Short, clear, grounded. When she senses that her moment of vulnerability did not scare you, did not change you, did not trigger drama, something powerful happens. Safety grows. She realizes she can open up without losing control of the situation. She learns that closeness with you does not equal chaos. And here is the truth most men never understand. Silence after intimacy is often a sign that the intimacy mattered. If it meant nothing, there would be no retreat, no recalibration, no internal pause. The quiet is not emptiness. It is processing. It is her heart catching up to her courage. Be patient. Don't overreact. Don't dramatize. Don't chase reassurance. Hold your frame. Stay centered. When you respond with calm confidence instead of insecurity, you transform what could have been distance into deeper trust. That is how mature connection is built. Not through emotional pressure, not through panic, through steadiness, through restraint, through quiet strength. 2. She overthinks everything you say. When a woman begins to overthink your words, understand this clearly. It is not chaos. It is not drama. It is not instability. It is investment. Before her feelings deepened, your messages floated past her like background music. Pleasant, light, forgettable. But once you matter, your words carry weight. They echo. They linger. They become something she replays in her quiet moments. She won't tell you this directly. Most women won't. Instead, she asks herself silent questions in the privacy of her own mind. Did I talk too much? Did that joke bother him? Did I sound foolish? Does he feel this too? Am I stepping closer while he's stepping back? That mental loop is not about trying to control you. It is about protecting herself. It is about vulnerability. When someone begins to matter, the heart becomes careful. And careful can look confusing from the outside. Many men misread this phase. They label it as neediness. They assume she's becoming overly sensitive. Don't make that mistake. True neediness comes from emptiness, from someone looking for validation to fill a void. What you're seeing here is not emptiness. It's attachment forming. It's emotional risk. That is very different. She's cautious because she values the connection. She's measuring her steps because she doesn't want to fall alone. And here is where it becomes tricky. You may notice inconsistency. One day she's warm, open, laughing easily. The next day she seems slightly reserved, less expressive, pulling back just a little. Don't jump to conclusions. That shift is usually not manipulation. It's internal conflict. Part of her wants to lean in. Another part wants to stay safe. She's asking herself, is this real? Is this stable? Is he steady? Fear doesn't erase interest. It complicates it. Especially for men between 35 and 70, this matters. At this stage in life, you value stability. You don't have time for emotional games. Good. Then don't treat this like a game. Treat it like what it is, a signal that she cares enough to be careful. You must understand this. A woman who doesn't care does not overthink. She does not replay your tone. She does not analyze your pauses. She does not wonder if you meant what you said. She simply moves on. Indifference is quiet. Investment is noisy inside the mind. Overthinking is exhausting. It drains her. She won't say that, but it does. So what helps? Clarity through consistency. Not grand speeches. Not dramatic declarations. Not emotional pressure. Just steady behavior. Predictable communication. Follow through. If you say you'll call, call. If you say you enjoyed your time, mean it. If you care, show it calmly and repeatedly. Consistency quiets her mind. Stability lowers her fear. Predictability builds safety. Don't tease her vulnerability. Don't mock her sensitivity. Be the man who makes emotional space feel secure. That is strength. You don't need to over-explain yourself. You need to be steady. That is enough. When she overthinks your words, she is revealing something powerful without saying it. You matter. Handle that carefully. Be calm. Be clear. Be consistent. That is how you turn fear into trust. That is how you lead without force. That is how you build something real. 3. She pulls back when things start feeling real. When a connection shifts from light and casual to emotionally significant, something powerful happens beneath the surface. Feelings become real. Stakes become real. And when stakes rise, fear often rises with them. Not fear of you, but fear of loss, vulnerability, and what it means to care deeply. As Carl Jung once said, where love rules, there is no will to power. Real love requires surrender, and surrender can feel risky. So she instinctively creates space, not as a tactic, not as manipulation, but as protection. This is not a strategy. It is self-preservation. You must understand this clearly. When emotions deepen, uncertainty appears. The heart asks, what if this falls apart? What if I lose control? What if I care more than he does? That internal tension can cause her to step back just as things begin to feel meaningful. And many men misread that step. They assume loss of interest. They assume rejection. They react with pressure. Or they disappear to teach a lesson. Both responses destroy momentum. Both come from ego. Neither comes from strength. Pressure makes it worse. Chasing tightens the knot. Questioning her feelings too aggressively forces her deeper into retreat. On the other hand, withdrawing completely sends a signal that confirms her fear. That closeness leads to instability. You must not swing emotionally. You must not react impulsively. Stability is power. Calm is leadership. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When she pulls back, your job is not to panic. Your job is to remain grounded. Understand this. Pulling back does not mean she is stepping away from you. Often, it means she is standing at the edge of something meaningful and feeling the weight of it. The closer she feels, the more real it becomes. The more real it becomes, the more vulnerable she feels. Vulnerability is uncomfortable, especially for someone who has been hurt before. So she tests distance. She slows communication. She needs space to process. That is not disinterest. That is emotional calibration. Modern life amplifies this dynamic. We live in a world of instant messaging, instant reactions, instant assumptions. A delayed reply becomes a crisis. A quiet evening becomes doubt. But maturity, especially for men over 35, requires emotional steadiness. You are not 20 anymore. You do not chase signals with anxiety. You observe. You assess. You respond with composure. Real connection is not built through urgency. It is built through patience. So what do? Stay present without pushing. Let the connection breathe. Keep your energy steady. When you speak, speak calmly. When you act, act consistently. Show interest without demanding reassurance. That balance communicates strength. That balance communicates security. And security dissolves fear faster than pressure ever could. Remember what Ernest Hemingway said, the best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. Trust does not mean blind optimism. It means giving space without collapsing your standards. You do not beg. You do not over-explain. You remain centered. You continue living your life fully. You maintain purpose. That quiet confidence creates safety. If she is deeply invested but afraid, your steadiness becomes the anchor. Your calm becomes the signal that closeness is not chaos. When she sees that your interest does not waver under tension, respect grows. Attraction stabilizes. Emotional safety strengthens. Pulling back is not always retreat. Sometimes it is reflection. Sometimes it is her heart catching up to her feelings. Do not confuse movement with meaning. Watch patterns, not moments. Measure consistency over time. Master this mindset and you master the situation. You stop reacting. You start leading. You create space for real intimacy to develop naturally. And when a woman feels safe enough to step forward again, it will not be forced. It will be chosen. That is the victory. That is emotional strength. That is how a man wins in love, by standing firm when emotions fluctuate and by remaining calm when things begin to matter most. 4. She becomes more observant of you than before. When a woman starts noticing small changes in your tone, your schedule, your energy, that is not random curiosity. That is emotional investment sharpening her awareness. Before feelings deepen, she enjoys your presence. After feelings deepen, she studies your consistency. She remembers details you forgot you mentioned. She notices if your enthusiasm dips. She senses when your mood shifts. And sometimes, instead of asking directly, she pulls back slightly to observe more clearly. Not to trap you, not to manipulate, but to assess safety. Understand this clearly: indifference does not observe. It drifts, but investment pays attention. She may ask subtle questions about your plans. She may casually bring up something you said weeks ago. She may become quieter while watching how you respond under pressure. This is not interrogation. This is evaluation. When she cares, she wants to know if your behavior aligns with your words. Many men misread this phase as suspicion. They feel judged. They become defensive. Don't do that. Defensiveness signals instability. Calm transparency signals strength. If your actions match your promises, you have nothing to fear. If you say you value her, show it consistently. If you say you are serious, act seriously. Emotional safety grows when patterns remain steady over time. Here is the deeper psychology. When attachment forms, the brain shifts into prediction mode. She is unconsciously asking, is this man reliable long-term? And reliability is not proven by grand gestures. It is proven by repetition, by calm presence, by stable character. Be aware of this. She is not testing your perfection. She is measuring your consistency. Perfection is impossible. Consistency is powerful. Don't panic under observation. Don't perform. Don't exaggerate effort. Just be aligned. When she sees that your steady behavior does not change with emotional fluctuations, her internal anxiety decreases. She relaxes. She invests more openly. Investment makes her attentive. And attention is not a threat. It is a sign that you matter. Be the same man on your best day and your uncertain day. That predictability builds trust. And trust builds permanence. 5. She tests distance instead of asking for reassurance. She will not always say, "Do you care about me?" She will not always admit, "I'm afraid of losing you." Instead, she creates space and watches what you do with it. That is the test. Not a game. Not manipulation. Protection. When a woman is deeply invested but scared, distance feels safer than vulnerability. Asking for reassurance requires exposure. Pulling back requires nothing. So she pulls back. Then she observes. If she steps away, will you lean in calmly? If she goes quiet, will you remain steady? If she slows down, will you panic or will you stay grounded? Understand this clearly. She is not measuring your intensity. She is measuring your stability. There is a difference. Intensity is loud. Stability is quiet. Intensity burns fast. Stability lasts. Many men fail here because they react instead of respond. They either match her distance out of pride, "Oh, you're pulling away? Fine." Or they overcorrect and flood her with messages, pressure, and emotional urgency. Don't do that. Matching her distance confirms her fear that connection is fragile. Over-pursuing confirms her fear that closeness becomes overwhelming. You must choose a third path. Calm presence. When she creates space, do not chase. But do not disappear. Stay consistent. Send the message. Make the call. Keep your tone warm but controlled. That is strength. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Her distance is an outside event. Your response is within your control. If you allow her pullback to disturb your center, you fail the test. If you remain steady, predictable, and emotionally balanced, you pass without even announcing it. Here's what is really happening psychologically. She is asking one silent question: is he safe? Not safe in the physical sense. Safe emotionally. Safe in consistency. Safe in patience. Safe in not exploding when things feel uncertain. Many men believe passion proves love. It does not. Consistency proves safety. And safety builds trust. That is what she is scanning for. That is what she is testing. Do not confuse her retreat with lack of interest. If she were uninterested, she would detach cleanly. No tests, no subtle checking, no observing your reactions. Indifference is simple. Fear is complicated. Fear pulls back while still caring deeply. So when she tests distance, she is not asking for fireworks. She is asking for emotional reliability. Can you handle space without spiraling? Can you handle silence without accusation? Can you handle uncertainty without drama? Be the man who can. Modern dating amplifies this pattern. Texting delays, social media ambiguity, busy schedules, mixed signals. In this environment, insecurity multiplies easily. So when she pulls away slightly, don't assume rejection. Don't send paragraphs demanding clarity. Don't punish her with coldness. That is emotional reactivity. Instead, demonstrate calm leadership of your own emotions. Keep your rhythm. Keep your direction. Keep your standards. Consistency is attractive because it signals inner control. It says, I am not shaken by temporary shifts. And that steadiness relaxes her nervous system more than grand romantic gestures ever could. Over-pursuing overwhelms her because it feels like pressure. Matching distance feels like abandonment. Calm consistency feels like safety. That is the sweet spot. Remember this. She is not testing whether you can chase her. She is testing whether you can remain grounded. Big difference. Chasing is impulse. Grounded presence is discipline. And discipline in love is rare. So when she steps back, don't panic. Don't overreact. Don't withdraw to protect your ego. Stay balanced. Stay warm. Stay predictable. That is how you demonstrate emotional maturity. That is how you show her that connection with you is not chaotic, it is stable. And when she realizes that her small retreat did not shake you, did not scare you, did not push you into extremes, something shifts inside her. Fear softens. Trust grows. She steps closer on her own, not because you chased, not because you pressured, but because you proved, through calm consistency, that you are safe to invest in. 6. She suddenly tries to act low maintenance. When a woman who once expressed her needs openly begins to downplay them, you must pay attention. This is not indifference. This is investment mixed with fear. A woman does not shrink her needs because they disappeared. She shrinks them because they matter, because they feel big, because they feel risky. And risk feels dangerous when the heart is involved. As Maya Angelou said, have enough courage to trust love one more time. Many people want that courage. Few feel safe enough to show it. When she suddenly says, it's fine, more often than before, when she stops asking for reassurance, when she laughs off something that clearly touched her, do not assume she has become easier. Assume she has become careful. From the outside, it looks like independence, calm, self-containment. From the inside, it is fear management. She is calculating emotional exposure. She is asking herself, if I show how much I care, will he pull away? So she pulls back first, not to leave, to protect. In today's world, where everyone is told not to seem needy, where dating advice teaches detachment as power, many women would rather appear low maintenance than risk being misunderstood. Social media glorifies nonchalance. Modern culture rewards coolness. But real connection requires vulnerability. And vulnerability feels dangerous when you truly care. That is the paradox. You must understand this clearly. A woman who feels nothing does not adjust her behavior. She drifts. She disconnects. She invests elsewhere. But a woman who cares and becomes quieter is often watching you more closely than ever. She hopes you will notice the shift. She hopes you will lean in. She hopes you will ask the question she is afraid to ask herself. As Brené Brown teaches, vulnerability is not weakness. It's our greatest measure of courage. Remember that. She is not pulling back because she is unsure about you. She may be pulling back because she is too sure, and that certainty scares her. This is where most men make the mistake. They interpret her silence as stability. They think, great, no drama. They relax. They stop checking in. They assume everything is fine because she says it is. Do not make that mistake. Emotional awareness matters more than intensity. Strength in relationships is not about being unbothered. It is about being perceptive. If she stops initiating deeper conversations, you initiate them. If she minimizes something that once mattered to her, you gently bring it back into the light. Not with interrogation, with leadership, calm, steady presence. Be the man who is not threatened by emotion. Be the man who does not panic when feelings deepen. Be the man who sees through the mask without shaming her for wearing it. That is power. Quiet power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action." Her hesitation is not a wall. It is an invitation. It is your opportunity to show steadiness. When she tests whether it is safe to care more, you answer with consistency, not grand gestures. Consistency, not pressure. Presence. Understand this principle. When a woman tries to act like she needs less, it often means she is afraid of how much she actually needs. And when she is afraid of needing you, it means she values you. That is not a signal to withdraw. That is a signal to rise, to respond with clarity, to reassure without being asked, to create an environment where honesty feels safer than pretending. In modern relationships, especially for men in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, emotional intelligence is the new strength. You do not win by being distant. You win by being grounded. You do not win by ignoring subtle shifts. You win by noticing them. So pay attention. Notice patterns. Notice tone. Notice the difference between true independence and guarded attachment. Do not chase. Do not overreact. But do not ignore. Ask better questions. Offer steady reassurance. Show through action that real connection does not scare you. When she senses that her deeper feelings will not push you away, the mask drops. The low-maintenance act fades. What remains is authenticity. And authenticity builds loyalty. Master this moment, and you master the dynamic. Stay calm. Stay aware. Led with emotional strength. That is how you build something real. 7. She pulls away because you matter more than you think. Let that sink in. Not less. More. Sometimes when a woman creates distance, it is not doubt about you. It is doubt about herself in the presence of something that feels real. As Eric Fromm once said, love is an act of will. Real connection asks for courage. And courage exposes vulnerability. When you begin to matter, you also gain the power to disappoint, to leave, to shift. That power alone can make her step back and reassess her own heart. Most men misread this moment. They assume retreat equals rejection. So they chase for reassurance. Or they go cold to protect their pride. Both reactions are ego-driven. Both miss the emotional truth. The issue is not your worth. The issue is the emotional weight of caring. When feelings deepen, risk increases. And not everyone is immediately comfortable with risk. Especially in modern dating, where options are endless, attention is cheap, and commitment feels rare. Listen carefully. When a man becomes significant, he becomes emotionally influential. Not harmful, not threatening. Influential. She begins to imagine outcomes. She imagines losing him. She imagines giving more than she planned. That inner conflict can create space. Not because she wants distance from you, but because she is trying to regulate her own emotions. That is not rejection. That is processing. Now here is where many men unintentionally add fuel to the fire. Inconsistency. Mixed signals. Strong interest one week, confusion the next. Words without aligned action. Attention without stability. You may think attraction is enough to carry momentum. It is not. Attraction sparks. Consistency builds. And as Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. If your behavior is unpredictable, she will believe that instability is the pattern, and her caution will grow. Understand this clearly. Emotional safety is not built on charm. It is not built on chemistry. It is built on calm, steady behavior over time. That is strength. That is leadership. When she senses steadiness, her nervous system relaxes. When she senses uncertainty, she protects herself. Not dramatically, quietly. If she pulls away and you respond with silence, games, or calculated detachment, you confirm her fear. You teach her that caring leads to instability, and she will detach with dignity. Cleanly. No chaos. Just quiet closure. Do not panic. Do not chase. Do not withdraw. Be steady. That is the instruction. Stay emotionally grounded. Keep your communication clear. Continue your life with purpose. Show interest without desperation. Show consistency without pressure. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Her temporary distance is outside your control. Your character is not. At the same time, do not become passive. Leadership matters. Clarity matters. If you sense confusion, address it calmly. Say what you feel. State your intentions. A woman cannot relax into connection if she feels she is carrying the emotional direction alone. She does not need perfection. She needs steadiness. This is the crossroads where men either evolve or repeat old cycles. The evolved man does not beg. He does not disappear. He remains composed. He continues forward. He understands that fear around connection is often a sign of depth, not disinterest. Repeat this to yourself. If she is pulling away because I matter, my job is not to react emotionally. My job is to respond with stability. My job is to demonstrate that caring about me does not come with chaos. That is power. Quiet power. In today's world of instant gratification and disposable attention, the rarest trait is emotional reliability. Become that. Be the man whose presence feels calm, not confusing. Be the man whose words match his actions. Be the man who does not crumble when emotions get complex. Because sparks create excitement, but safety creates commitment. And if you master this distinction, you do not just win her back into closeness. You master yourself. And that victory changes every relationship you will ever have. 8. She hides her vulnerability behind logic. When a woman begins explaining her emotional distance with calm, practical reasons, understand this, something deeper is moving beneath the surface. Logic becomes armor when the heart feels exposed. She says she's busy. She needs space. The timing isn't right. On the surface, those statements sound clean and reasonable. And yes, they may be partially true, but they're often not the whole truth. The deeper truth sounds more like this: I didn't expect to care this much. And now that I do, I feel unsettled. For many women, admitting emotional depth feels like stepping into open air without knowing if someone will catch them. That is uncomfortable. That is risky. So logic steps in. Logic creates structure. Logic slows things down. Logic gives her something solid to stand on when emotions feel unpredictable. Don't argue with her reasons. Don't rush to dismantle her logic point by point. That only proves you are listening to her words, but missing her emotional state. When a man debates her explanations, he thinks he is solving a problem. He is not. He is increasing her need to protect herself. At the same time, don't withdraw completely. Don't interpret her seriousness as rejection. A woman who feels nothing does not explain. She fades. She goes quiet. She disappears without analysis. Explanation is effort. Explanation means she still cares about how this unfolds. That is important. When she talks about boundaries, pacing, expectations, understand what is happening. She is trying to regulate the emotional speed, not because she wants less connection, because she feels more than she anticipated. When feelings accelerate, fear often follows. Fear of losing control, fear of misjudging you, fear of investing deeply and being left standing alone. Be grounded. That is your role. Stay steady without becoming cold. Stay emotionally present without demanding access to parts of her she is not ready to share. Emotional intelligence is strength. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. You cannot force her openness. You can control your reaction. That is where your power lives. Don't pressure her with dramatic reassurance. Don't demand clarity she cannot yet articulate. Sometimes she doesn't fully understand her own emotional shift. She only knows it feels bigger than she expected. Logic becomes her translator when feelings feel too raw to name. Conversations may become more restrained during this phase, less playful, more structured. That does not automatically signal loss of attraction. It often signals internal conflict. She is balancing desire with caution. That is human. That is real. But be clear, patience does not mean endless waiting. Understanding does not mean tolerating confusion without limits. Watch her consistency. Watch her effort. If she continues to communicate, continues to engage, continues to explain, she is still invested. If effort disappears entirely, accept that reality with dignity. A strong man does not chase clarity through pressure. He creates safety through stability. He listens without trying to fix. He observes without overreacting. He allows space without collapsing into insecurity. Behind her calm reasoning may be a woman who feels deeply, but is testing whether it is safe to show that depth. She is not slamming the door. She is standing behind it, hand on the handle, deciding whether to open it further. Your job is not to push the door. Your job is to remain the kind of presence that makes opening it feel safe. Be steady. Be patient. Be self-controlled. That is how you win in love. Not through force, not through argument, but through quiet strength that does not flinch when emotions become complex. 9. She slows down physical or emotional escalation, not because attraction faded, but because it intensified. This is where many men become confused. Things feel strong. Chemistry is present. Emotional closeness increases. And suddenly, she wants to slow down. She may suggest taking things step by step. She may reduce physical intensity. She may create boundaries that weren't there before. Most men interpret this as cooling interest. Wrong. Often, it is the opposite. When attraction is casual, speed feels safe. There is little to lose. But when connection feels meaningful, speed feels dangerous. Slowing down becomes a way to protect something she values. She is not rejecting the connection. She is protecting its potential. As the philosopher Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." But bravery in love requires emotional security. If she senses depth forming, she may slow the pace to ensure the foundation is stable before going further. Don't take slowing down as a personal insult. Don't respond with frustration. Don't withdraw affection to punish her caution. That reaction confirms her fear that closeness equals instability. Instead, recognize what is happening beneath the surface. She wants sustainability, not intensity alone. She wants alignment, not just attraction. There is a difference between someone pulling away emotionally and someone pacing the connection wisely. Watch her effort. If she still communicates, still invests time, still shows care, the connection is alive. She is not retreating. She is regulating. Modern dating often glorifies fast chemistry, quick attachment, instant passion. But long-term bonds are built differently. They require pacing. They require emotional safety. They require two people who can tolerate tension without forcing resolution. If she slows down, match her pace without losing your center. Keep showing up. Keep leading calmly. Keep your life purposeful. Attraction does not die from patience. It dies from pressure. Understand this final principle. When a woman protects the pace of a connection, she is often protecting her heart and the possibility of something real. So, don't rush what is forming. Don't mistake caution for doubt. Stability outperforms speed every time. Master patience. Master composure. Master yourself. That is how you build something that lasts. Here's the honest truth most women won't say directly to you. When a woman pulls away out of fear, it is rarely because she's unsure about you. It's because she's starting to see a future in her mind. And that future suddenly feels heavy with risk. She imagines shared holidays, deeper conversations, maybe even permanence. And with that vision comes vulnerability. The higher the hope, the greater the fall might feel. That is what most men misunderstand. They see distance and assume disinterest. They see hesitation and assume rejection. Don't jump to that conclusion. A woman who feels nothing doesn't hesitate. She leaves cleanly. No confusion. No mixed signals. No internal struggle. Silence is easy when there's no emotional investment. But a woman who is emotionally invested and afraid, she moves back and forth. One day she's warm, present, leaning in. The next day she's quiet, slightly distant, almost guarded. It looks inconsistent. It feels frustrating. But it is not random. It's her heart trying to protect itself while still wanting you close. She is managing two forces at once, desire and self-preservation. Caring deeply makes a woman feel powerful and exposed at the same time. Powerful because she feels connected. Exposed because now you matter. And when you matter, you can hurt her. That realization alone can trigger a subtle retreat. Not because she doubts you, because she fears how much she now cares. What you do in these moments matters more than anything else. Not your charm, not your looks, not your clever words. Your emotional steadiness. That is the test. Be grounded. Be calm. Don't chase. Don't punish. Don't disappear to teach her a lesson. That reaction comes from fear, not strength. Most men lose women not because they weren't enough, but because they reacted from fear instead of understanding. They felt the shift and panicked. They demanded answers. They pushed for clarity. They tried to force certainty when what she needed was safety. Understand this clearly. Emotional hesitation is not rejection. It is often attachment mixed with anxiety. When you pressure her during that phase, you confirm her fear. When you remain steady, you calm it. That is the difference. You must become the emotional anchor, not another wave in a storm. Ask yourself a better question. Did I create a space where she could feel without fear? Or did I make her feel like caring was a liability? Did she feel safe being vulnerable with me? Or did she sense that any uncertainty would be judged, analyzed, or challenged? Don't label her as confusing. Don't call her inconsistent. Be curious instead. Confusion often means she is processing real emotion. Inconsistency often means she is protecting something valuable, her heart. Here's the deeper psychology. When a woman begins imagining a future with you, her brain also calculates potential loss. The more meaningful you become, the more she has to lose. That awareness can trigger distance, even when her feelings are growing stronger. It's not logical. It's protective. Your role is not to fix her fear. Your role is to not amplify it. Stay present. Keep your behavior consistent. Let your actions communicate stability. That is what creates long-term trust. And if you've been in that situation, when things felt right and suddenly she pulled back, reflect before reacting. Did you escalate tension? Did you withdraw completely? Or did you hold your ground calmly? I respect men who want to understand, not control. Control creates resistance. Understanding creates connection. If this message resonates with you, think about your past experiences. Were there signs you noticed too late? Moments where you mistook fear for indifference? Growth begins when you stop reacting impulsively and start responding wisely. Be the man who doesn't crumble when emotions get real. Be the man who doesn't panic at temporary distance. That steadiness is rare. And rare qualities build lasting connections.